Hi boys and girls, here's Philippe from Chile, and in that episode we're gonna go deeper in that challenge about the bill, the banknote that I had to do. You challenged me, so I put my head in that, and I'm gonna try to do something. So as you perhaps know, I'm living in Chile, but actually I'm Swiss. I'm a Swiss guy from Geneva. And I choose for that episode to inspire my banknote bill out of a Swiss banknote, 10 francs, with about 7 euro, $9. And if you look at that banknote, you see some quite interesting stuff. First, there is a theme. The theme here is architecture. You see here some architecture. In the background, also some architectural parts. Windows, doors, lines, structure. And if you go closer, you see like a texture we're coming across everything. Here we see a line with made of metal, and here we've got the white place where normally you've got filigrane. That's image with it can be just seen in transparency. If you go, you see through the bill. That's made with different thickness of the paper that gets shade of gray. Of course, got a serial number, the value of the bill, the bank who is emitting the bill, some signature here of the director of the Swiss National Bank. That's all in German. In Switzerland, we've got something strange. We've got more than one language. Here we've got on that side of the bill 10 Franken. That's 10 franc in German. Deutsche francs with 10 franc in Romansh. That's old language that come from Latin in the southeast of Switzerland. On the other side, we've got 10 francs in French and also in Italian. Everything in Switzerland is divided in 4 languages. That's crazy. Imagine the democracy in South America with 4 languages in the parliament. Just war. One thing that we've got interesting here, we've got something like a gradient, and here a faded place with the texture goes through, but we got a faded rectangle here. Down here we've got the copyright of the graphical artist. That's interesting. So we are working on open source with GIMP. I'm actually working on Linux. You can use GIMP on Windows and Mac also, but I'm working Linux. So for my banknotes, I will use some texture out of the Linux file system. Basically, my team is gonna be Linux. I'm gonna use this web page with those graphics, who are really amazing. That's a visual. If you go back to the place where I find it in Slashdot, there was a time ago an article about a visual expedition inside the Linux file system, and those people cross the different file system that we've got in Linux. We are a lot, And for example, this image was made with all the file system available in Linux. That's a lot. Here also, and crossing file system with file system, you've got compatibility. Or more, no, this one is about being similar. More word is similar. Of course, got a word line, because when you cross the same file system, you got totally similar. And in yellow is less similar. And I found that's really interesting. Here we've got another graphic I'm gonna use. That's all the file system crossing with operation that's the kernel is doing on the file system. And when you got a dot, it's possible. When you got a white point, it's not working. And you get some compatibility with different operation. That's just for the story. As a key, as a serial number, I'm gonna use the hash of the last kernel, and my build gonna be called Open Source Bank of the Universe. So, going straight to the work, I'm gonna first take my image here, taking the side, and just drag and drop the image on my banknote. So here we've got it. We're gonna need to transform it to do something nice. First thing, something interesting here in the cropping process. We got an image, but my image, the 2000 by 1200 here is my complete banknote, and I want to just take out this part, the outside part of this image, to just use the inside part. But I don't want to crop the whole image. I just want to crop the layer. So you can do two things. One thing is to go to the crop tool. In the option, you just crop the current layer. So you go here, approximately. You come close with a space key. You can move, and you just adjust your crop here. Go back with the control and the scroll and the scroll wheel of your mouse. Come back, come closer here. Space to move. Okay, and enter to crop. That's one way. The other way is to select just what you want. I think I am too close here. I'm gonna go back, taking the corner. Okay. And now you got the selection. You can go to image, crop to selection. That's gonna crop the whole image and make you an image from just the crop size, or layer, crop to selection. And we're gonna use that one. Okay, both way are doing the same thing, doing the crop tool and selecting crop just the layer, or here on the working layer, select what you want and crop selection. So we've got our image with the same size, but we've got a smaller layer. Okay, now we're gonna move it. No, first you're gonna scale it. You're gonna scale this layer to this value with 1200. Layer, scale layer. Here you're gonna put 1200. Oh no. 1200 by 1200 scale. Okay, now we've got our layer in the full size. And move with M and move it to the corner, coming close to the corner to be precise. Coming closer. Okay. So we've got our layer here to the corner. For my design, I want to have a symmetry and having the yellow in the border. So we're gonna go to Layer, Transform, Flip horizontally. So I've got it. Now I want to have a symmetry here from that that layer to that part of the image. So we're gonna Control A to select all, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. And now I go to my layers, and with a floating selection here, I click on New, click a new layer, and I've got a new layer. Now I can move this new layer in the right place. Okay, and again, layer, transform, flip horizontally to have the symmetry. Now I've got what I want. My background texture. Second step that I want to do is give it some more volume. I just here gonna make one layer with those two ones. First, going to Layer, Merge Down. So now I'll get just one layer. To give it some volume, I can use various techniques. I want to first bump it with itself. Go to Filter, Map. Here it is, Bump Map. And here a tool that I use really often. We're gonna bump it with himself. Increase the depth, okay, and the elevation going down to have some white line also. The elevation is a place of the sun, or of the light from 90 degrees in the azimuth to the horizon. That's really too much. Something like that is interesting. Got some texture going through, and the white and black and white lines. And we could also move a bit the layer with pushing. Yeah, I explain you in big lines how it is working. Here, all the dark part are pushing to the top and making a shadow, and the lighter parts are pushing less. So every time we get a difference between two value in the luminance, we've got a step marking itself here. So if I move the layer from with pushing from the side with the offset here, I can obtain something with more interesting. Going slow to see, just having the right step where we got a big contrast. Here's the big contrast. I want to have that line coming to the next one. So I go (21). Okay, and I'm gonna go with the other one also moving up. So I give some more mystery in my bill. Okay. So with 20 pixel shift, we've got something more interesting. We don't hide the difference of levels in our push up and down from the bump, but we use them to generate a structure a bit in the side. Perhaps we get a bit too much elevation. That's nicer. Click OK. Wow, that's nice. I like it. Now, if you remember in the Swiss banknote, we had some texture here. I don't want to mimic that. We can do that, huh? I've done that with some filter from artistic filter. We can generate that kind of thing with Gimpressionist. But I want to do something like that, but limited, restrained to some point, to give more a technical look to my bill. For that, I go again to my web page, and I'm gonna use this texture. Okay. Again, I've got to crop. I'm going to selection. Coming closer. Okay. Layer. Crop to selection. So you've got it. And now I need to scale it. If you remember, we had about a 20 pixel shift. Go to filter, no, to tool, measurement. If you come here, with control, you constrain it in the horizontal, 20. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and choosing the same place, that's 61 pixels. If you measure 1, 2, 3 steps of the texture coming from black to black, That's about 20 pixels for each square here. And I want to have those dots in each square, aligned in the square. So if I come close here and I measure, here I've got 11 pixels. So I've got to calculate that. So take my calc tool. We've got 11 and 20. So 20 divided by 11, we've got 1.8. Okay. So now our layer, what is size layer? Scan layer. That 16, 610, 610. So we get 1.8, 1, etc. multiplying 610. So we've got to scale it to 1109 to have 1109 pixels, to have a 20 step between the dots. Follow me? Okay. Gonna just verify that. Now I come here, control to constrain to the horizontal, come here, and I got my 20 pixels. Okay, that's perfect. That's a bit technical, but if you want to go with that challenge, making something interesting and technical, we get to go through that. M to move, taking down a bit the opacity to see what we are doing. And now I'm gonna move this layer up to the corner. Excuse me. To change my tool, move tool or M. So now we've got our dots who are just coming to the right place more and less. Can just move a bit in the side, 1 pixel down, and we are okay. You understand what I want? Now Control C, Control V to make a new layer, and we passed it. We make a new layer out of that, take down the opacity to see what we do, move. I'm gonna put it in the side of the other one. Okay. Gonna transform it horizontally. Okay. Now we're gonna merge down. And move it like that. Okay. Now how can I use that layer? Gonna make layer to image size to just cut the outside parts. Now I'm gonna make a texture and clip it those dots. I'll make a new layer here. Call it texture. I'm gonna fill it with a middle gray. Okay, we're gonna use our artistic Gimpressionist to give it some Canva fabric kind of texture. Choose a paper. This Canva, update. Okay. Now, what I want to do is to just clip the Canva out of this those dots. How can I do that? Selecting here my layer, selecting the white part, changing to the texture layer again, and Ctrl X to cut. Okay. Now this one I can hide it. And this one I can put it down here. Ctrl A. And we're gonna going down with opacity. We can even bumping it with the dots to give it more volume. Filter, map, bump map. I'm gonna choose the light coming from the same side. Okay. That's gonna give us some interesting stuff here. And I'm gonna bump it again with itself. Okay, that's nice. Now, having that visible, hiding the dots, coming down with opacity here. We're going to have some nice effect. Now, if you see in the banknote here, we've got some place made for the filigrane here. I'm gonna do something like that. But we're gonna change it. We're gonna make a place here using a technique with layer mask. Add a layer mask, white full transparency, and with the gradient tool you're gonna fill a selection. Gonna select about from 600 . Six hundred is gonna be, if you see the status bar, that's half. $600, okay. But here we're gonna let about three square. So this part we want to have that part white, so the colored part transparent, and here having a gradient. So use the gradient tool, the blend tool. I always call it gradient tool. Choosing black and white. Linear, and be sure to work under layer mask. And here we're gonna just throw a gradient. With control we will constrain it. If you see, the layer mask is black. Where it's black is transparent, and where it's white it's not transparent. This layer is made transparent where it's black, and here not. What we want? Perhaps get to be a bit more abrupt. The gradient was too long to have some place to write something. We're gonna also make a selection here for the copyright, but here you're gonna just fill it with a middle gray. If you go back in black, it's totally transparent. If you go to with a gray, a light gray, it's a bit more transparent. We're gonna just find the perfect balance. Just want to adjust my selection to fit with my texture. Okay. And here we see underground, and here underground my dots. That's perfect. What more can we do to this background? Control A, select all. Can perhaps make a place here to give it some text. Being careful to align to our texture. Just be creative. And here we're gonna use again the blend tool, but this time you're gonna use bilinear. And from the middle of the selection, more or less, just go in the side with control to constrain to horizontal. I think that's not what I want to have more, so go more than here. So here we are clear. If I go from the center just a little bit here, I have a small blend. If I go longer, I have a bigger blend. That's what I want. Control A. So now our background is ready for next week. I hope you enjoy the show. It's a bit long. Working on that was really a challenge for me. Having something interesting. But I think at the end we're going to have a nice banknote of the Bank of the Universe, open source Bank of the Universe. Have a nice week. Enjoy next show with Rolf next Tuesday. And I see you soon to go and finish this banknote. Bye bye.
PhotocastNetwork.com, your photography resource in the potosphere. PhotocastNetwork.com